This morning, I want to bring in Pennsylvania Republican Congressman Bill Shuster with us, and the Hill contributor and executive director of the New York State Democratic Party, Basil Smikle. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us. Basil, we had Robert Wolf on the other day, who, of course, is an operative in the Democratic Party, best friends with President Obama. I said to him, what does Bernie Sanders want? I mean, what is he looking for? He said he wants a platform. Is that what this is all about, so that he can have a platform to push a very far left agenda during the Democratic convention?
Yes, I think, he'll argue that he's already brought Hillary Clinton to the left. I don't know how true that is, but he's made that argument. And the truth of the matter is he wants to have the platform, yes, at the convention. But remember, even if he's decided already to come out of the race, it's a process. It's a process both for him as a candidate, but also for his supporters. I don't know what his fundraising is going to be like in April. I'd be really curious to see that, given what happened in New York and the narrative of the race now. But I do think he's got to find a way to keep those supporters engaged, not just throughout the primary cycle, but also at the convention.
Congressman, what's your take on this on the Republican side? I think it's interesting to point out that Donald Trump this weekend said basically, look, once I get the support from the Republicans, I'm going to be raising money for the Republican Party. How do you see it playing out tomorrow in Indiana and beyond?
Well, I think the momentum is moving in his way. Obviously, last week in Pennsylvania, he won 57% of the vote. I'm an elected delegate. I was undeclared before the primary, and when I saw my district over 60%, I'm supporting Donald Trump. And I believe that Indiana is do or die for Ted Cruz. And it appears in all the polls that you've been showing, we've been looking at, that Donald has the momentum going into tomorrow, and I think he'll be victorious and then on to the convention.
Because I'm a nerd, so I'm going to throw this stat out there, because this is in the Wall Street Journal today. So Trump wins all 57 delegates in Indiana. So that's winning, it's winner take all, but that's statewide and then the 9 congressional districts. He'll have 1,012 bound delegates. Needs 225, but that means he would need less than 50% of the remaining delegates, bound delegates, to be allocated. That would be the first time that he fell below that 50% mark. And given what he's been able to do in all these northeastern states, that really looks doable even before the convention.
So he may very well get the number, the 1237, and then we don't have a contested convention on the Republican side, Basil.
That's right. I absolutely agree, and I think he wins Indiana handily. And I think voters looked at what the Ted Cruz and the Fiorina press conference. They looked at that and said, this is he went right into Trump's talking points at that. And I don't understand where that.
The harder he tries, the sadder it gets at this point, because I mean his campaign office, from what I've been hearing and reading, is just so intense. I picture it like Animal House, kind of like, was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? And everyone's just all pumped up. But if you're getting pumped up and nothing's happening, then that's going to make it even worse and make people less likely to support you. So I think it's all been counterproductive.
Terribly so. Basil, what's in New York State here? It sounds like we're all saying, Trump could very well take this uncontested. What's the Democratic strategy here, sort of to combat Trump, assuming that it is Hillary or perhaps Bernie's still in there? What would the Democratic Party in New York be playing up to counter Trump?
Every misogynistic comment he's ever made. I mean, he is look, even if you whether you're a Bernie Sanders supporter or a Hillary Clinton supporter, this whole primary cycle we've talked about being more inclusive, bringing more people into the party. I think Trump has done that with some Republicans, certainly left Republicans, but he's done it in a way that I think, as I've said, very misogynistic, racist in many respects, and alienated substantial communities and constituencies in this country. I don't think that brings more people into the process. I think on the Democratic side, we will certainly do that. He's losing among women, and I think for Hillary Clinton, this is where she picks up a tremendous amount of
alienated people,
support.
but he's excited people. Nobody's excited about Hillary.
Oh, no, I would disagree. People are
maybe
very
like
excited
14
about
people.
No,
I don't know.
But you know what? When you look at the numbers and you look at voter turnout, right? Voter turnout is up 60% on the Republican side. It's down about 20% on the Democratic side. So I think that's what Kat's talking about. No, you don't have the kind of voter turnout that you had around Barack Obama.
That's actually very true. I actually do agree with that. But I do think that there is a history on the Democratic side of lapsed turnout in the primary, but more turnout in the general. I think we will hope for that.
You think it's going to change for the general?
I think it changes in the general, and I especially think that's true if Trump is the candidate.
But Hillary runs a risk, speaking as a woman, that if you turn every criticism of her into a sexist remark, women don't buy that.
Right. If everything is sexist, then nothing is sexist. You just stop listening to it.
Exactly.
No, but I do think, but that does portend. If you listen to what Donald Trump is saying, doesn't that portend sort of the kind of policies that an administration under Trump is going to put forth? And I think when voters look at that and say, okay, yes, we're exciting a base, but what policies are actually going to come out of this administration? I think that's where Hillary sort of wins handily.
Let me ask you, Congressman, before you go, because I think that at some point, if it is Trump, the Republican Party will get around him and get behind him. Now, you're a delegate. Did he reach out to you to try to schmooze you, to try to get that vote for you? And how do you think things change for Trump once the Republican Party does get behind him, if that, in fact, is what you're expecting? How does this look different?
He did not really reach out to me after it was over and I saw it happen in Pennsylvania. I came forward myself to support Donald Trump. But what I see happening after this primary season's over is Donald Trump is very smart. He's very charming. He can put the charm initiative on. It's been 6 months, and where he may have said something in the past that offended a group or two, I think he can turn that around, especially when it comes to women. And when you have a surrogate like Ivanka Trump coming out, his daughter, who's so bright, so capable, articulate, that's going to show women that Donald Trump raised a beautiful, smart daughter, and that's going to, I think, turn a lot of folks back on to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I think his family is one of his big, most important
And he also, if I could, I think you got to throw the playbook out for the Democrats with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He's not a traditional Republican in the sense, Donald's a marketing genius. And he's gone and tapped into those people that you mentioned before are energized. They're coming out to vote. I think they're going to stand for the long haul. And I think Donald Trump, if he gets the nomination, which I think he will, he'll be the next president of the United States.
Wow. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Congressman Bill Schuster there, Basil Smikle. I suspect you take issue with that last comment there.
I absolutely take issue with that.
You think Hillary's going to be the next
I
president?
absolutely do.
All right,
Look forward
Basil.
to it.
Good to see you. We are enjoying this race, that's for sure. Extraordinary. Make sure you tune into the Fox Business Network tomorrow night. We've got special coverage of the Indiana primaries beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night right here on the Fox Business Network. Stay with us. Starbucks slapped with a $5 million lawsuit over the amount of ice it puts in its cold beverages. More business for the lawyers. We'll tell you about the details coming up. And then easing your travel nightmares. Delta could start using technology that makes the chances of losing your luggage much less. You can follow your luggage all around the country. Back in a minute.